If that were inverted, man, any feminist would want to destroy us for it. Any woman, for that matter. If we were to say that women perpetuate their own abuse, it would be inexcusable. Would it be fair to say that she perpetuated the abuse?
Only if she did perpetuate it, but I don't think that she did. If it was true, it's true. If it's not true, it's not true.
We all have different experiences. We all have different lives. People have different upbringings. People have different spaces in their life. And that's going to cause a lot of differences in how people perceive things. Disagree that women have been put in a cage. I think that women are freer now probably than they've ever been in American society.
But can I say something? Because I think I heard what you said differently, right? And this is just me simping, right, as usual. But what I hear when she says that is, I go back to it like when I was a little bit younger, it was a lot of women who you meet and they post stuff on social media like I don't put middle finger up. I don't give a fuck about these niggas. I ain't got no heart, all this type of stuff, right? I'd be like, cool. So we can just fuck and you be all right? You cool, like you strong. Okay. So then we start fucking, and all of a sudden they crying, they calling me, they doing all, I'm like, God damn, I thought you was big blood. Like I ain't think, like why you hitting me with all this emotional stuff now? Like what I heard when she said that was, if you are putting on this stoic persona, then I'm not going to assume that I need to check on you, or I'm not going to assume that I always need to check on you in the way that I would for somebody else. And that's kind of like my problem with a lot of women sometimes is they'll put on this strong persona. They'll say, I'm so strong, I'm this, I'm that, and the third. And then you got to understand, when you do that, people aren't going to treat you like a delicate flower. And then at some point, they're going to have that little breakdown, they crying. And, you might even experience that with your mom one time. Like, one time you might realize, oh, my mom's a woman. She's just a woman. Even though you grew up, she put on this strong persona the whole time, but you might see her in a vulnerable state and you like, God damn, you just a woman. And that's kind of like what I heard from her. I didn't necessarily hear like, I'm gonna exploit you. I heard, okay, you say you got it. You say you're a man. Okay.
So Ma, time out. This is the only issue I had with it. Although I agree with Bo in that sense, right? I do think that when men definitely leave themselves open to those types of things, right? But I just like when we say things, it's scrutinized the way we say things and stuff, right? So the real problem that I have with it is the verbiage, and I'm not paraphrase. I'm gonna say it verbatim. Men perpetuate their own abuse. If that were inverted, man, any feminist would want to destroy us for it. Any woman, for that matter. If we were to say that women perpetuate their own abuse, it would be inexcusable. And that's the problem that I have with it, right? Does anybody disagree with that? Like, if we were to say that women, no matter what form of abuse it is, I don't think that anyone would ever agree for us to say that women perpetuate their own abuse.
Are you saying that people won't think that it's true, or are you saying that people will get offended if you say it?
People will be absolutely offended. Absolutely offended. But you can't do that. You can't say that. What do you mean? You're supposed to know better. That doesn't mean that you exploit them or take advantage of them just because we're not allowed to do that. Even if we find a vulnerable woman, it doesn't mean we just go ahead and pounce on it. That's inhumane, right? I also think it's inhumane for women to manipulate a man that's emotionally vulnerable.
I think women can perpetuate their own abuse the same way that men can. Like, and I'm guilty. I'm not gonna say I'm guilty of it. Like,
nah, too late.
I really think I'm stoic. Like, I'm not an emotional person. Like, I have emotions, but I tell my girl all the time, like, yo, I ain't like you don't gotta buy me no gifts. I tell her stuff like that. I'm like, if you do give me a gift, just something that show me that you're thinking about me, right? I'm not like some other guys who be like, yo, we need to switch places for Valentine's Day. it's about men too. I'm vocal when it's like, yo, I think that's gay. I'm not like that, right? I'm vocal with that type of stuff. So women hear that and they like, all right, that nigga don't want nothing for Valentine's Day. They're like, all right,
So if that's the case, so do you promote the exploitation of a vulnerable man?
no.
So you think it's wrong to take advantage of a person who leaves himself open to abuse?
Depending on the
Because when you say you perpetuate it, right, that means that you're pretty much asking for it. You're bringing it in, right? Even if it's inadvertently, you are actually the cause of it, right?
I think that the sense that I was just talking about, that I play a part in it. If one day I want to feel like, yo, I'm emotional today, or I kind of need somebody to check on me today, then I have to be accountable. Like, you know what? I have been putting on this persona that would make people think that, he's the last person I need to check on. That's all I'm saying. And that's what I heard from what Bo was saying.
So if you slapped up your female real quick, right? Would it be fair to say that she perpetuated the abuse?
Only if she did perpetuate it, but I don't think that she did. If it was true, it's true. If it's not true, it's not true. I think people
what would her perpetuating the abuse look like, real though?
Good question.
Put her hands on me. And I'm gonna hit you back. And every time you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back.
Well, then it's not an abuse. That's not abuse. That's a fight. We're talking about abuse.
Some women are considered abuse if a man hit them back.
No, we're not talking about because anybody could feel anything, right? We're talking about what actually is as far as how the terms define. Because anyone could say that they're being emotionally abused, and it happens all the time when people lie. So what I'm asking is there? Go ahead, answer his question. What does that look like for her to perpetuate her abuse?
I would have to think about it deeper, but I think people can perpetuate abuse. Like, for example, I'm gonna give you another example because I'm gonna just to give an example with men. I know when I used to box a little bit, or even when you play football, that thing of like your trainer, like you're not going, oh, my head hurt. I kind of like, you just be like, yo, I'm a man. I ain't gonna tell you my head hurt right now, and they're like, yo, I kind of like hear something. I'm not gonna tell you that. I'm gonna be a man. And I'm gonna kind of just do what I think a man should do. And people do that with football. A lot of football players perpetuate. They're like, oh, I'm gonna go back in the game. I'm gonna do like. I think it's possible to perpetuate abuse because if that's what the conversation is now, I honestly think you can play a part in that to some degree.
What you thinking, Mansa?
No, I'm just listening, and I believe everybody has valid points, but I definitely think there's a line between individual projection and projecting what you think things should be for other people, and just the way other people are in general. And I think a lot of things get mixed up because there isn't a one size fits all. There isn't a one size fits everybody. You know what I mean? Different people are looking for different things, and you just have to get together and negotiate what it is you're looking for, what it is you want, and find the people that are magnetized to the things that you want and that want those things from you. Because at the end of the day, we all have different experiences, we all have different lives, people have different upbringings, people at different spaces in their life, and that's going to cause a lot of differences in how people perceive things. And so initially when I came on to the show and I was hearing what I was hearing, it was a lot of things that were being said by the other sister and the sister Bo about this broad aspect about men are this way and men are that way. And clearly we can see just from the men on the line that people we have different thoughts and perspectives on different things. You see what I'm saying? So I just think that that's very key and very important when we're talking about the male and female dynamics. But there are some things biologically that are just universal. That's on an evolutionary level. This is how we've evolved to be physically. And based on that, I just think that when we talk about basically what the name of the show is, have women been put in a cage? I disagree. I disagree that women have been put in a cage. I think that women are freer now, probably than they've ever been in American society. A lot of women view, or at least before Roe versus Wade was repealed, a lot of women viewed that America was a woman's paradise, based on the way the court system operate, how it favors women in divorces and in custody battles and different things like that. And again, those are systems that men put in place. So I do agree with what the brothers is saying as far as men sometimes perpetuate their own abuse, only in the context that if you present yourself a certain way, then you have to expect yourself to be taken in that way that you present yourself. And that's just not in relationships. That's on if you go to a job interview. If you go to a job interview dressed a certain way, and you're not dressed properly for the interview or presenting yourself properly for that interview, you shouldn't expect to get that job. You know what I mean? Especially if going to that job has a certain way you need to present yourself. So, all of these things are relative at best. So I just think that, as somebody, and I can't speak for anybody else, but just as somebody who's married and somebody who is, looking at things from a cultural context, no matter how it is, the equation for humanity is 50-50. There's half is woman and then there's man. And how they get along, how they communicate, how they operate with each other is at the core of the success and failure of it. So, when we cast these blanket statements, it's not going to serve the individual who's looking for the thing they're looking for any good. So with that, I'll digress.